Welcome to the Social Mission Revolution. Each week we explore some of the greatest undertold stories of businesses and everyday people who are making their ultimate impact on the world through social mission. This is Social Mission Revolution, and this is your host, Andrea Putting. Welcome again to another episode of the Social Mission Revolution. Today I am here with Gina Diamond, and her passion is all around nutrition for children. So I'm very excited to talk to Gina because nutrition has been in my background as a naturopath, and I'm very passionate about children eating the right kind of foods, especially now that I have a grandson, and fortunately my daughter and I are both very passionate about him staying on good food. So very interested to talk to you today, Gina. So would you like to introduce yourself a little bit and tell us a little bit more about what you're doing in life?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me on the podcast. I am a master health coach, author, and a mother. And I help people make conscious wellness choices in nutrition, hearing their body's wisdom, and overall living. And I do that through, obviously, my coaching work. I also offer workshops and retreats. And then one of my big passions, I love going into schools and helping to change the culture around what we're putting in our most treasured little ones' bodies.
Yes. It's a very important issue.
It is.
So Gina, I'll ask you that question I love to ask people. If there was just one thing for you to fight for, what would that be?
So it would absolutely be equal access to nutrient-dense food. So I have a degree in humane education, which is learning how to educate people around the issues connected to environmental sustainability, social justice, and personal health.
Wonderful.
When I looked at those three areas, I said, what is the main thing that everybody thinks about and everybody does on a daily basis that connects these three areas? And what I realized is it's food. And when I delved deeper into food and nutrition specifically, I began looking at what are the blocks, what are preventing people from making conscious choices so that they can thrive and have the best experience in their body possible. And there's a lot of things that block people, but one of the things that absolutely keeps people from eating well is this social justice issue of access. So we have enough food, and there's no shortage of food. And we even have enough really, really awesome, amazing food that is going to give the body everything that it needs for us to think well, be in a classroom well, sleep well, ultimately thriving in our life. But not everybody can access the same types of food. And so when I do my nutrition coaching, I really keep this in mind because yes, some people can go out and take my list and buy exactly what I'm recommending, but not everybody can. And this absolutely needs to shift because good food, consuming good food is a human right, in my opinion.
Yes, it is. And it's the foundation of everything in life. Yes. It's the foundation of life, and that we need to have good food to nourish us to be able to thrive in every area of our life.
Absolutely. Yeah, I don't know about you, but my background, my history is I went through many years eating all the wrong things, and I was overweight, I was depressed, I didn't have energy. This really challenging part of my life mostly occurred in my high school, college years. And it's like night and day. I mean, it's not the only thing that I do to self-care, but as you said, it is really foundational. It's something I'm going to do regardless. So I might as well make the best choices that I can if I want to truly feel great in my body. And when I feel great in my body, I can be a better mom. I can be a better community member. I can be a better person at work. I can be a better coach. It infiltrates everything that I do. And so that's where the foundational building blocks metaphor comes from.
Yes. And so that really leads us into what your social mission is all about, because it's building that foundation, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. So in some ways I look at all of my work as a social mission, because
Of course.
it's ultimately helping people be the best that they can be, through the strategies and tools related to nutrition, hearing our body's wisdom, and making overall conscious living choices, like what do we clean, what are we bringing into our home in terms of what we're cleaning with, because that also gets into our body.
Mhm.
So it's a pretty big umbrella, but to keep it really simple for today, what I wanted to share is the importance of making sure that our families and our little ones are eating well. And that's why I really, really love working with schools. And I actually, not only have I volunteered many, many years as my daughter was going through the public school system in the United States, but I also took a job for 2 years working with special ed kids, because I knew that I needed to be on the inside. I knew that I needed to see firsthand what was actually going on. And again, I don't want to ever give the message that it's all and only about nutrition, because there are other things going
Absolutely.
on.
Yeah.
So I don't want to create that myth or support that myth. And at the same time, we know how foundational nutrition is. And when I'm in the school system and I'm in the cafeteria working and I'm seeing what children are eating, now please know this isn't coming from a place of judgment. I'm a mother too. My daughter was a picky eater. It's tough, it's not,
It can be.
yeah. And our schools can be part of the solution. And so my work in schools, by helping the teachers, by helping the parents, by helping the administrators really understand the connection between behavioral issues, academic challenges, emotional issues, really getting all of us adults to understand why it's so vitally important to make sure that the kids are getting the maximum nutrition possible if we want the symptoms, the challenges that we have in our school system to start to diminish. And I'm really excited because I'm working with a school district up north of me who has this coming year, he's a superintendent that's very, very forward thinking. That makes a difference. It does help.
Yes.
And he understands, because of his own personal challenges with his family, how the brain can literally break if we are not feeding it, nourishing it with the appropriate foods. And he's completely revamping, I mean, it's going to go in stages, but he's completely revamping the food service program. And I'm coming in to do some of the educational pieces, because ultimately what I want to do as part of my social mission is change the culture. And in order to change the culture, we can't leave any constituent out. So I need to be doing parent education and really helping the parents understand why this is important to build this foundation at home as well, and how they can do it even if they don't have time, they don't have money, they don't know how to cook. There are ways around all of these issues. And I love helping low-income families, especially, who never thought that they could be healthy because they're not set up for success.
No.
And yeah.
And usually what I see often with low income families is that they've had this cycle within generations of both low income and poor health. And so they don't understand the basics of good nutrition and the fact that they actually can afford good nutrition.
Right. Yeah. It's really a misnomer when people say I can't afford good food. I mean, I know there are some people who are literally one step away from being homeless. I know that. So food banks, I really want to invite food banks into this discussion because I am so fortunate to live in a place where our food bank has its own garden, and they grow and harvest so just tons and tons and tons of fruit and vegetables, organic fresh fruit and vegetables that they're giving away free to our community. That's one example of how we can look at this as a social justice issue, that everybody has the right, whether they can afford it or not, to access good food. And the reason I bring that up is because there are solutions to everything. We just need to sometimes be a little bit more innovative and creative. And so I know when I'm talking to my superintendent that I'm going to be working with up north, he is bringing in, we are bringing in the community, because this is not an isolated, our schools don't live in isolation, our families don't live in isolation. We are part of a bigger network, and if we can be more conscious about the choices within that network, we are going to see families change. We are going to see our school system change. We're going to see our next generation of children change, and that's going to change everything, in my opinion.
Yeah. So things like community gardens are wonderful ways of people being able to access good nutrition, good healthy food. But then some community gardens also offer that opportunity for people to learn how to cook and develop those skills, which is a fabulous thing as well.
Yes, absolutely. And I just found, talking about gardens, I just found a really wonderful company that is addressing this very issue. And I'd love to give the link to everybody, but basically it's a company called Aggressively Organics, and what they have created is a way for people to grow their own food year-round indoors. But not only that, but they have priced it out, so they show you how much money you save.
That's great.
And they help you grow it. They have these specialty lights. They help you grow it in such a way that it proliferates. Is that the right word?
It keeps growing.
It keeps growing. Yes, thank you. And it's very space efficient. You don't need a lot of space. And there is a little bit of outlay of cost in the beginning. But see, this is partly what I want to do with so I have a fundraising campaign to not only help me get into schools that can't afford me, but I also want to be able to buy these indoor gardening kits, because there are other indoor gardening kits, but they're not all the same. So that's important to know. So I really wanted to find something that was going to be the best of the best and work for anybody, regardless of if they've had gardening experience before, if they have space in their house. But I know it because it does have a little bit of money that you have to put up front. That is part of my bigger social vision is I want to be able to come into a school and say, I'm bringing with me 100 of these kits.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
For the families who are open and willing to try this, but they can't afford it. And I don't want money or economic status to prevent people that are ready and willing to improve their health through nutrition.
Absolutely. That's wonderful. This would be a wonderful initiative to be able to do.
Thank you.
Yeah. We have a little bit of a different challenge in schools as far as kids having nutritious lunch in Australia.
Okay.
Because we don't have school cafeterias.
Oh, I didn't know
so
that.
The children take their lunch to school. You have a packed lunch. So then it comes back to what nutritional understanding the parents have.
Yeah, and that's why parent education is so important. I mean, even though we have school cafeterias, a lot of the kids bring food from home. So I completely understand that piece, and so when I teach, it's all about, it's not proselytizing or shaming or judging. It's all about inviting parents into the conversation. Well, first of all, I can really relate. Having a picky eater, she's come through it. But I understand the challenges. I'm also a single mom. I haven't always had enough money to buy the kind of food that I wanted to buy. But again, it's a priority for me. Like, I'd rather purchase that than makeup but I invite them into that conversation and I foster critical thinking so that they can so my audience can come up with their own conclusion around this issue. And I mean, obviously I have my own opinions, but I want to foster a safe environment so that parents can explore these issues and decide for themselves what is the next step they're willing to take. So it could be, I serve my kids fried chicken 5 times a week, and I'm willing to do that 3 times and instead add in some fresh salad. Because, and we explore, like, okay, where can you get the fresh salad from? Do you want to buy one of these indoor kits? Or can we look at the food banks? Or are there any programs at the school or in the community that's connected to the school where, for example, we have a program for parents on reduced or free lunches where they can get meals for the weekend from this nonprofit that cooks up a bunch of healthy food for that. I live in an amazing place. I know I know not everybody has this. No. But I'm just giving you these examples because hopefully somebody out there will say, oh my gosh, I love that idea. I'm going to start that in my community.
Absolutely.
You can call me. I can put you in touch with people doing this amazing work. If you wanted to start we have vending machines, the free, where kids can go and get snacks and lunches during the summer, for example. So I just want to keep emphasizing there are solutions. I know you might feel stuck, but there are solutions.
Yeah.
And we can do this. We can do this.
Yeah. So I understand not everyone has had nutritional training.
Yeah.
And often what they were taught in schools 20 years ago, even, so the parents, even 10 years ago, so those who are parents now of young children haven't necessarily learnt correct nutrition. They don't really understand the basis of it. And I've seen so many examples of that, of parents not understanding that maybe their child actually has an allergy to milk and they've been giving them lots of milk and they keep getting colds and things. So things like that they just don't understand because they've just been told this is a good product, this is good for you, and well, it may not be.
Yeah, and that's where the education piece comes in, and specifically humane education. So again, we're not telling parents what to do. We're empowering them with the information. We're fostering critical thinking. And then I ask them, what resonates with you? What are you willing to do? What's a positive next step that you're willing to do? And I do goal setting with them and stuff like that, so that I
Yeah.
set them up for success before they leave.
So step by step, just a little bit. What can you do just this little bit to improve? What's something better that you can do today without thinking about a great big change in, because when you offer those great big changes, then you usually don't get any results.
It's progress, not perfection.
Yes.
Any tiny, doesn't matter how small it is, the research is clear. Any tiny step that somebody's willing to make is going to improve quality of life. And ultimately, the big things are always a bunch of little steps. And it's all about personal sustainability. So I would rather have somebody say that I'm going to start drinking a little bit more water every day,
Mm-hmm.
than having them say, I'm gonna revamp every meal every day of the year.
Yeah.
I do kitchen cleanses because I do have people who are so sick that they are willing. They are at the point where they're like, you know what? We just can't, I can't live with this pain. I can't live with my child is hitting other kids in the classroom. They're screaming, they're biting. I've seen this personally, by the way. And something has got to change. And when I invite them to consider what could help with this, I do have people say, come into my home and do a kitchen cleanse, or send me a video, or let's do a Zoom call so you can walk me through it. Like I am ready. Like it's gotten so bad, they've hit rock bottom. Yeah. So I'm willing to do, it's all about where people are. It's meeting people where they are.
That's right. And it's only a few people who can do that. And that, like you said, they've got to be really at that desperation point usually before they jump wholeheartedly into something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So wherever people are on the journey, I honor that and support that, and am willing to walk with them hand, I partner with people is what I do. And let's go to the next step. And when that becomes habit and feels really good, and it's like brushing teeth and you don't have to think about it, then you have more space, more bandwidth to take the next step. So then we do the next one, and that's how it continues.
Yeah. And for every little thing that you do, there is an improvement.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It makes a difference.
It does. It does. So what are the other things you do with the schools? Let's talk about I know you have a book, and you did mention to me that some of those, I'm stuffing up today. So you've mentioned to me that you have a book, and that some of those profits for that go to help the schools in their initiatives.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so my book is called Hidden Treasures, and it's survival strategies for parents with picky eaters. You can probably guess who my inspiration was.
Yeah, I was just thinking that. Yeah. You know all about that one.
I do. And there's several reasons why kids are picky eaters, but one of the main reasons is that their gut health is, they've lost their gut health. And so that is connected to their taste buds. And not to mention how the brain works when you consume cane sugar and things like that. I mean, it gets pretty detailed, which I won't go into all the details unless you want that. But basically, I want to give parents strategies for how they can address this picky eater issue. I've had families who don't have picky eaters who use it just because they want to know more about nutrition. And so, for example, I talk about, when you make smoothies for your kids, leave the green stems, the hulls on strawberries, leave those intact. when you put the strawberry in the smoothie, because those green stems have a lot of nutrition. We normally take them off. So I do have families that want those kind of tips. But basically what I've decided to do is use my book as a fundraiser.
Yes.
So when I get into schools that want to not only use me as a health coach / educator to help them with this mission, but also schools are looking for ways to make money. And so I thought, okay, how can it be a win-win-win?
Yes.
So if we can do this fundraiser, not only we're getting these books into the hands of parents, but we're also raising money for schools. And what I ask of the school is please use that money for some sort of wellness initiative. And it's not that I think that's more important than new gym equipment or anything like that. It's just what my passion is. And what I see a huge gap. I don't see us talking about these wellness issues in schools as much as I want that to be so and will be so in the future. And so if we can do a fundraiser, then the schools, their main challenge with bringing in wellness programs is the money piece. And so if I can help them to address that through my book, then we're addressing multiple things at one time, basically.
Yeah. It's a good, like you said, it's a win-win-win. It really helps them to develop something that's positive that they couldn't afford to do otherwise.
Exactly.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
And that's it's a good model for people to think about too. If they've got something that they're passionate about, that they see that there's a gap somewhere, what can they do to help supplement that happening?
It's all about building bridges.
Building bridges, absolutely. We're not about building walls, we're about building bridges.
Exactly. We are.
Making things possible, making good things possible for people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then helping them walk across the bridge.
Absolutely.
So
get them a wheelchair if you need it.
Yeah.
Whatever they need to get across that bridge.
I got tools.
Exactly. So if somebody you were having a conversation with someone who had a passion, who saw there was a gap in the market, and they really had this passion for whatever it is, for something that they know about, that they're educated about, or just really have this passion for, is there some advice that you would give them?
Oh, so much. I've learned so much. I think the biggest thing is keep the naysayers out of your life. There's plenty of people who, for whatever reason, will say it's not possible. And how do they know? I mean, and why do they get to have a say? I just know that I need to keep my vibration high. I need to keep my enthusiasm, my passion, my excitement alive. And it can be teared down so easily by somebody who doesn't get it, who can't see it, who is too caught up in their own thinking process based on their life experiences and their trauma and whatever it might be. It's really important to surround yourself with a team of people who not only believe in you, see what your strengths and your skills are, but they can see the vision. They understand why it's important. And even better, if they have something to offer. Like I really believe none of us are meant to do this alone. I know people, I know incredible people who have done incredible things all on their own. But ideally, if you can have a team of people who have your back and are going to be there to lift you up on those days that are challenging or on those days that feel like it just didn't go the way that you wanted to.
Yeah.
And possibly can even lend support in, like, for me, technology is my nemesis. Even though, like, I appreciate it and I know it's the world we live in. But I've gotten stuck a lot with technology challenges to the point where I've wanted to throw my computer out the window. And it's,
I think we all feel like that sometimes.
yeah. So it's so nice to be able to have some people on my team that I can call and say, like, oh my God, I've been trying to figure out this thing for,
Yeah.
and it's not worth my time. That's the other piece that I really had to grow into, because I had, a pretty small budget until I started making some money out of this. And I had to switch from doing everything on my own to, it's worth hiring a web designer. Just find the right one.
Yes.
It's worth, right? It's worth hiring somebody that has the skills that you don't, because it's going to take you 10 times as long, 3 times as long, whatever it might be. And time is money, right? So
Absolutely.
I would rather be doing the things that I'm really, really good at, the coaching and education piece. I'd rather be spending my time on that than futzing around for hours and hours on end trying to figure out how to make this change on my website, or how to add my fundraising campaign. This is what I'm doing right now. And that, then I give money to somebody who can use their own, can really use their own skill set. It's part,
We work
and
with our own strengths.
exactly. Thank you. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, there's some great advice for that. Thanks, Gina. And before we go, just like to give you the opportunity to just promote how people can connect with you, or how they might be able to get hold of your book, if they would like to have a conversation with you.
Yeah, thank you. So my website is consciouslivingstrategies.com. And on there, my book is on there, so you can order it through my website. It's on Amazon, Hidden Treasures. You do have to put in Gina D Diamond, D as in Daniel, Diamond. That's another thing I learned. Be really make sure that you have everything the way you want it before it rolls, because now people can't search me by Gina Diamond on Amazon, but it has to have my middle initial. So it's just a big learning process. But yeah, so you can find my book there. If you are part of a school, you're a teacher, administrator, parent, and you like what you heard and you would like to do a fundraiser, I'm happy to, then you order the books directly through me. And I would like to note that I do free 20-minute discovery sessions. I do that for anybody. And right on my website, you can schedule that. And I'd be happy to explore, listen to you, listen first, then explore where you've been, where you want to go, and how I can support you to get there.
Fabulous. I'm sure there's some people who could really benefit from your help. Well, I know there's lots of people who can benefit from your help.
Thank you. Yeah, and I really just want to be of service through the strengths and gifts that I've been given, and help families to move into a place where they love being in their body.
Yeah.
And that their kids are able to think, focus, be able to do what they need to do so that they can learn well, and also grow up and be of service in whatever way matters to them.
Fabulous. I really like that message. So I want to thank you for being with us today, Gina. It's been a real pleasure talking to you about nutrition and children. And I'm sure that there's a lot of interest in what you have to offer and tell people about.
Thank you so much. I'm so grateful to you for allowing me to be here to share my message, to reach more people so that we can help people heal. And ultimately, when we help people heal, the whole world heals.
Absolutely.
So I'm super grateful.
Thank you. It's been a real pleasure. And that's all we have for today in the Social Mission Revolution. I will be back again with another Social Mission Revolutionist next week. This has been the Social Mission Revolution with Andrea Putting. Join me again next week when we'll speak to another Social Mission Revolutionist who will inspire you on your journey to making your ultimate impact on the world.